Hello and welcome to a look at Aztec challenge for the Commodore 64, a game made by Cosmi. In Aztec challenge you are given a series of trials you have to pass in order to complete the game. Trials, things, stuff. And the 7 trials are divided into 7 different levels, and on the first level you are running towards the Aztec temple in the background while you have units of javeliners randomly throwing javelins at you, which you have to either duck under or jump over. And it is simple in concept, but it is surprisingly easy to try to anticipate a javelin coming in your general direction and try to jump when you should duck or duck when you should jump. The key to this level is definitely patience, patience, and more patience. Almost a lovely idea, I'd say, having a bunch of people just throwing javelins at you, I suppose. What you don't do to get some excitement out of your everyday life. Anyway, we reached the temples and now we have to climb the stairs, and while we are climbing the stairs, boulders are coming down and we have to avoid the boulders, which is thankfully relatively easy. This level is not particularly challenging as long as you do not put yourself in a position where you can be boxed in. While this is playing, we can talk a bit about the game itself. You can play this game 1 or 2 players, and the 2 players will take turn playing the game. The game, as I have stated, have 7 levels that needs to be completed, and each level you have 5 lives, but if you lose your 5 lives, you just start on that level again. So basically there's no definite game over scenario. The game over is when you get sick of playing the game and cut power, basically. The game have 4 loops, basically. So once you have completed the game, it will go to phase 2, after that phase 3, and after that phase 4. I did not try to get through all 4 in order to see if there is a definite ending to this game, but when it repeats, everything just goes faster, basically. Anyway, the temple. Now we have to run through a series of rooms which are guarded by things dropping and things opening at your feet. And the controls are you move left to stop your Aztec individual from moving, and up to jump. So if there's something to jump over, it's like a good idea to jump over it. One thing I found very quickly is the key is to, when you enter a new screen, is to stop immediately and see whether it's something opening in front of your feet or something dropping down. Was a near miss. Oh well, it didn't hit. Patience, again, just like in the first level, but it is not nearly as agitating as the first level can be. One thing to be said for each of these levels: if you lose a life, you restart at the start of the level. Anyway, the vermin. We have to run through the jungle of some part of Mexico and avoid various different enemies. I think it's called animals, snakes, spiders, that kind of stuff, by either doing low jumps or high jumps over them, and I found that the low jump turned not to be particularly useful. It was better to just do the high jump over every single enemy. I've left a description in of the different levels, so I don't necessarily need to talk about them all. I will make a mention if there's something that needs to be paid attention to particularly. Let's talk technical aspects. I mean, yeah. Graphics-wise, this is not ugly. I think we can agree on that. It is not particularly epic looking, but, and there's a huge but, it sort of fits the game. I don't know why. I know the graphic is not pretty to look at, and I know backgrounds and whatever else type of graphics are very, very sparse and very, very minimalistic, and I can't dislike the graphics in this game. It gives it a very, very unique style, and in that regard, it is actually, in its own way, bizarrely, for me at least, somewhat enjoyable. This level we have to get to the exit by moving across different platforms, and if you hit certain things, you will trigger a booby trap that will kill you. Relatively easy to get this one done, wasn't overly complicated. I think that was my third attempt in total. And then of course you have to do Froggle in a lake filled with piranhas, whatever they're called, and this effect is rather annoying, by the way. And if you get hit by one fish, you will suddenly realize that all the other fish in close proximity will close in on you, and thankfully there's no blood splatter everywhere. That would probably have made it a bit morbid. But this is effectively Froggle, avoiding piranhas on process. Anyway, the sound design. Yeah, same as the graphics, are not particularly epic. One thing that does stand out is the fact that the music changes based on how far you are into a level. So in that regard, it is somewhat unique. The gameplay, depending on the level, is either move away from stuff, jump over stuff, or duck stuff, things like that. Nothing overly complicated, but let us bear in mind the age of this game. It is a very, very early Commodore 64 game. We just need to talk about the bridge. You have 3 different jumps: short, medium, and long jump, and it is very important that you use the correct jump. The short jump will cause you to jump a 1 space gap, the medium jump will cause you to jump a 2 space gap, and the long jump will allow you to jump a 3 space jump, or gap even. And it could be something to just do the long jump, but you will find that the bridge has been made in such a way that relying on the long jump will cause you to jump over a section. So using the correct jump length is usually recommended. The gameplay is very basic, no doubt about it, but Cosmi released quite a few games which were, at a foundation, incredibly ugly to look at. There's 2 games that I haven't covered, and I will intend to cover at some point when I can get myself to play them, because they are notoriously difficult for what they are. Which has a similar style. Graphics are not particularly pretty, sound effects and music not particularly epic or even enjoyable to listen to. But there is a certain something about this game. I don't know whether it's because it's so incredibly memorable. It was, at least for me. I remember playing this the first time and getting extremely agitated by the first level, because even though the first level is a simple duck or jump over stuff or under stuff, it is very easy to screw up, and it is very easy to spend half an hour being stuck on that one level, which, for reference, I also did in the process of making this footage. As I'm showcasing the game, you don't need to play it yourself unless you really want to, and it is not unenjoyable. It is just a bit basic and not particularly pretty, and doesn't sound particularly good. But it has its own uniqueness to it, its own style, and the wholeness of the not very pleasant things actually makes for a somewhat enjoyable experience, if nothing else than for the novelty of it. I can't hate this game, even though I admit that on all levels it is probably rather not great. And on that note, thanks for watching, take care, see you next time. Bye bye for now.